What's the word, YouTube? Not to sound like Kenny Beecham there, but we back again on November 3rd, 2023. Hard to believe we're in November already, about to be in 2024. But it's an exciting day around the world. It's National Sandwich Day. I will make sure that I have me a nice PB&J later today to really appreciate that. Make sure you go support your local Subway, Jimmy John's, Jersey Mike's, Mr. Goodsense, wherever you get your sandwiches from. Go show them some love. But also today is National Jersey Day, so I got out the Prince-inspired Minnesota T-Wolves jersey, one of my favorite NBA City Connect jerseys they've had. It seems like ever since then, they continually get worse and worse. This year's Timberwolves jersey isn't as bad as most of the league's jerseys, but they're not nearly as good as they used to be, and this is one of my favorites. And then the white variant as well was very clean. Um, but hey, man, we are sitting here the day after Thursday night football. It was a good one between the Steelers and the Titans. Wasn't the most marquee teams out there, but it was a pretty closely contested contest. Um, Pretty torn both sides who they thought was going to win. Obviously, Tennessee had a lot of momentum following a good outing last weekend with the first career start of Will Levis, and Pittsburgh's had an up and down year. They have a winning record, but their quarterback Kenny Pickett hasn't played particularly well. But they just lost Minka Fitzpatrick for a few games. It's going to be interesting to see what came out of this game. And what we saw was a pretty back and forth game. It was really up in the air until about the end of the fourth quarter when Pittsburgh took the lead late with a Deontay Johnson touchdown from Kenny Pickett. But ultimately, the Steelers came away with this one by a score of 20-16. That puts them at 5-3 on the year. The Titans falling to 3-5 on the year. They are officially 0-4 on the road. Something to keep in mind there. Does not look like the Titans travel very well. Um, Good for the Steelers, though. I'm glad to see they were able to get another win on the board for them, stay alive in the AFC North divisional race there. Obviously, the Bengals and the Ravens and the Browns actually are all still playing some pretty good football. That's one of the more closely contested divisions in the league at the moment. Um, for the Steelers, Kenny Pickett went 19 of 30, 160 yards, one touchdown. He was not sacked, however. In the running game for him, Jalen Warren had 11 carries and 88 yards. They fed Najee Harris pretty well as well. 16 carries, 69 nice yards, and a touchdown. On the flip side there for the Titans, Will Levis, 22 of 39, 262 yards, and one interception that came at the end of the game. Derrick Henry, 17 carries, 75 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Um, I guess I do want to throw a little bit of love Deontay Johnson's way. He had 7 catches, 90 yards, and the touchdown, which was the game winner. Pretty quiet night all around for George Pickens, which I don't love for fantasy reasons there. But like I said, the Steelers very much in the thick of it in this very tightly contested AFC North. 5-3, that's a nice winning record there, and they look to continue some momentum next week as they go on to play Green Bay here in Pittsburgh, and follow up with that with a two game road trip for the divisional opponents. First at Cleveland, follow that up with at Cincinnati. If you're Tennessee, you did sell Kevin Byard at the deadline. You already kind of thought you were going to reset a little bit. Um, I think you need to continue to roll with the Will Levis experiment and see what you got, especially because you look at your schedule, the next three at Tampa, at Jacksonville, and then at home against Carolina. Some winnable games on that schedule. Tampa's not necessarily a world beater. Carolina's struggling. Obviously, that Jacksonville game will be a tough one. It's a divisional game. Always tough to play your divisional opponents. But I think the most interesting thing that came out of this game is since 1933, 34 teams have been outgained by their opponent in each of their first 8 games. This year's Pittsburgh Steelers team, who sit at 5-3, are the first team of those 34 teams to have a winning record. That's right. Pittsburgh Steelers have been outgained in every single game they've played this season. And in fact, they are sitting at on the season negative 790 yards in terms of differential of games, which is second worst in the league only to the Broncos, which can't forget they gave up 70 points to the Dolphins, so there was a lot of yards in that game. But somehow, some way, the Steelers have still found a way to win 5 games out of that. A lot of it, great defense. They're obviously forcing turnovers. They have a great secondary led by Minka Fitzpatrick that likes to go play some ball hawks. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith really know how to get to the quarterback. There were 4 sacks on Will Levis last night. You can force some turnovers and fumbles out of that situation. The Steelers defense has a lot of bend, don't break mentality, leaving people to field goals, getting those turnovers in the red zone, which has really helped them out overall. And the offense has taken advantage of some short field situations there. Um, but still very interesting to see that the Steelers, despite having bad defensive stats in terms of yards allowed, still winning football games. So shout out to the Pittsburgh Steelers there. Next Thursday night football, we have the Bears and the Panthers. That makes me want to gag. That's going to be an absolutely, I mean, both teams suck, so it might be a competitive game because of that. But man, it's not exactly the matchup we were all rooting to see on that one. But guys, the reason you're here, the reason you clicked on this video, it is for my weekend's best bets. I was steady in college football again last week, awful in NFL again last week, but we're gonna have a trust your gut weekend this week. All my picks, no overthinking, no over analyzing, just looking through the lines out there. Whatever my gut really liked, we went with it. We just got to trust it. I think sometimes my gut has been right and I've overanalyzed it and scared myself off of a pick. This time, you just got to trust what you're seeing, and that's what I'm doing here today. First, we're going to take Navy -7 there at Temple. Navy, it's the same thing that all those military schools do. They know how to run the football. We're banking on them to run the football. I think this is going to be a fun game. Temple, they usually have a decent home crowd. It's been a little bit less and less ever since Rule left there. But when they were cooking under Matt Rule, man, those crowds were pretty fun back in the day. Next, I'm going to take FAU money line -105 against UAB there at UAB. This one is actually, in fact, a pick 'em on the spread. UAB 2 wins on the year. FAU, I believe, has 4. FAU's offense looks a little bit better to me. I'm going to ride them. I think they are better coached as well. Personally, I'm just not super high on the UAB team this year. Next, I'm going to take Oklahoma Boomers Sooner -6 at Okie State. Tough to go take the road team over in Bedlam, but after Oklahoma losing last week, they're going to be mad. They want to come out, make a statement here. Oklahoma State ranked number 22 in the latest college football playoff poll. I think that's certainly very high for them. They don't deserve to be that high. But anytime you have the opportunity to go beat a ranked team, it helps your stance in the playoff polls, and that's what Oklahoma's looking to do. They have one loss. They need to get their name back in the conversation. A huge win over number 22 Okie State here on the road will help them do just that. I'm going to take the Sooners -6. Another ranked matchup here that I'm going with, Oregon obviously ranked about 5 or 6 in the country. I'm going to be fading them this week. However, I like Cal +24.5 in this game. I think Oregon obviously is going to win this game. There's a reason that I'm taking the Cal spread and not their insane money line value. But I just think Cal's offense is good enough to keep this within 24.5 points. I think this will be a high scoring game. I don't remember exactly what the over was off the top of my head, but I wouldn't be shocked to necessarily see that one hit either. I just think Cal's going to be able to score enough points to keep this one within the spread there. Another one I'm liking, going back to the Big 12. I'm going to take KU money line +125 at Iowa State. Was kind of surprised to see Kansas be the underdog in this matchup. I understand they are on the road. I just think they're a much better football team, a much better offensive football team specifically. That doesn't really matter if their quarterback is Jason Bean or if it's JD under center there. But I think both those guys are able to maintain that Kansas offense, and I expect them to go get a win at Iowa State, a team that hasn't been too great this year. They've had their moments, but they've never shown a lot of consistency and are one of the bottom teams in the Big 12 this season. KU's obviously ranked in the college football playoff poll. I believe they were 21. They had a nice little threesome right there: 21 Kansas, 22 Oklahoma State, 23 Kansas State. Thought that was a little interesting to see, but yeah, I'll take Kansas in this one as well. And then lastly, this one was tough, but I like what my gut's feeling on it, and I'm gonna take LSU money line plus 35 as they travel to Tuscaloosa to play at the Crimson Tide. Not many times do you see the Crimson Tide lose in their home stadium, especially under Nick Saban. This hasn't felt like a normal Nick Saban year to me. I don't have a lot of faith in Jalen Milroe at Alabama. I do have a lot of faith in Jaden Daniels under center for LSU. I think they're the more explosive team. They have the better offense in terms of generating big plays. Alabama relies a lot on, having to make long drives, 10, 11, 12 play possessions to get to the end zone. LSU has a lot more explosive ability on their side, and that's why I'm going to be leaning them in this matchup. And then jumping over to the NFL, I'm going to first start. We're going to take the Chiefs minus 1.5. They play the Miami Dolphins in Germany. Early game, 8:30 a.m. I believe it was here Central Time. Uh, I like the Chiefs minus 1.5 here. The Dolphins, obviously, potent offense. Tyreek Hill's return game against the Kansas City Chiefs. It just seems like when I look at the Dolphins' schedule and results so far this year, their best games have been against below average football teams, and they haven't played as well against the top talent in the league. Obviously, they lost to Buffalo. They beat up teams like Denver, the Giants, Arizona. I just think that this is going to be a tougher matchup for them as they don't really have a ton of, they don't have a ton of big wins on their resume quite yet. Meanwhile, you look at the Chiefs, they're born to play in big football games. Patrick Mahomes has played in maybe more big games than anyone else ever has already at this point in his career. Last week, they had got embarrassed by the Denver Broncos. That left a really bad taste in their mouth. I'm sure Andy Reid felt like he tasted an expired cheeseburger after that one. I just think they're going to be mad. You look at that Chiefs team, they have a lot of good leaders within their locker room. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Chris Jones is the guy that really motivates that defense. I think that they're really pissed off in that locker room. They're really mad. It's one thing to go lose a game. It's another thing to go lose a game to Denver that you have significantly owned throughout your entirety of your career. I just don't. I think this is a game that really screams Chiefs here, and to get it at minus 1.5. Very rarely do you see games that are that tightly knit. They're usually within three or so versus 1.5. I'll take the Chiefs there. Following that up, I'm also going to take the LA Rams money line plus 140 as they travel to the frozen tundra that is Green Bay. I think Green Bay is in a lot of trouble right now. I think they've officially lost the locker room. I'm going to put that out there. Locker room lost in Green Bay. Jordan Love doesn't seem to have a lot of answers for the Packers, and they're not doing him any favors offensively. They're not really getting Aaron Jones involved in the offense. A lot of the young receivers have had some mishaps running routes wrong, not catching the football, miscommunication on what plays being called. Um, and then the thing that just shocks me is at the trade deadline, the Packers traded Razul Douglas over to the Buffalo Bills. That's a big one off, if you ask me. Razul Douglas was very much the leader of that Packers defense, at least vocally, maybe not by his play, but even then, he was a very solid cornerback. And, just the reaction that's come out from Packers players, coaches, personnel as a result of that trade. A lot of teammates said they cried when they heard the news. Douglas himself said he hung up on the general manager when he got the phone call because he thought it was fake. Joe Barry, the defensive coordinator for the Packers, said he was shocked at the news. I just think that doesn't bode well for things going on. There's already some discontention going on within the Packers locker room, trust in the GM. If LaFleur has any trust at the moment, I think that just completely broke it apart, and we're going to see the Packers not win a game for the rest of the year. If I'm going to be completely honest, I think it might be that bad at the moment. And because of that, I think the Rams giving us plus 140 value is extremely valuable out there for us. And we will be more than happy to pounce on that line. And then lastly, I'm going to take the Las Vegas Raiders minus 1.5. They are at home against the New York Football Giants. It's one of these games again where it's shit versus shit. I believe Daniel Jones will be back here for the Giants if that matters. Um, I don't know. Last week, Tyrod Taylor got hurt for them. Tommy DeVito came in. They were unable to pass the football at all. Um, and not only that, they just traded away Leonard Williams from their defensive line over to Seattle, weakening the team even more. The Raiders just fired their head coach, Josh McDaniels, just fired their general manager, and also just fired their offensive coordinator, which means linebacker coach is, I believe his name was Alex Pierce. Sorry if I got your name wrong, sir. I know your last name is Pierce. He has taken over the boys over there in Vegas, and I have a lot of faith in what they'll be able to do. The locker room has seemed to react pretty well to the news. A lot of people seem to really like the new leader they got out there, and most importantly, I think whenever the vibes are good, you can win a football game, especially against a bad team. You'll be at home. The Giants have known to be let up sacks from time to time, uh, more than time to time, from multitude of sacks given up. That's why Daniel Jones got hurt in the first place. That's why Tyrod Taylor got hurt. It's why they have been able to been unable to pass the football for so many games this year. Max Crosby is that guy for the Raiders. I think he'll be able to get in there, disrupt the game a little bit. This season alone, we've already seen multiple times that pass rushers have been able to almost win football games on their own. Crosby's done it against the excuse me. Crosby's done that against the Patriots for the Raiders. I thought that Myles Garrett has done it a few times this year. You've seen Micah Parsons kind of take over some games for the Cowboys. Pass rushers are really a dominant thing that can control games. And with as bad as the Giants are, I love what the Raiders are going to be able to do on that one. I don't think it's going to be a big win. -1.5, though. Like I said, with that Chiefs game, you don't see many games within that tight of a point window. I'll take the Raiders on that one. So those were my trust your gut weekend picks in the college football realm. It is Navy -7, FAU money line, which is -105, Oklahoma -6. I like Cal plus 24.5, Kansas money line plus 125, and LSU money line plus 135. Go Tigers. And then in the NFL world, we love the Chiefs -1.5, Rams money line at plus 140, and the Raiders -1.5 against the Giants. Some other things going on in the world of sports at the moment is over the past 3 days, the San Antonio Spurs have beaten the Phoenix Suns in two straight games last night on Thursday and then again on Tuesday. Um, and the thing that's been really telling through those games that we've seen of the Spurs so far is that Victor Wembanyama has shown up and been the real deal since day one. He already looks like an all-star caliber player. Last night he had 38 points. He's a guy that's going to be able to average 20 plus points, probably 13 plus rebounds a game. He's been absolutely dynamite. And if you're a Spurs fan, you got to be thrilled that you won the lottery. And through his first 5 games this season, Wembanyama has scored 103 points, which is second all time through 5 games, only behind the legendary George Mikan. So, how about that for the San Antonio Spurs? You got to love seeing that there for them. Meanwhile, over in the world of baseball, the Texas Rangers have won the World Series. Congratulations to Texas for winning their first World Series of their franchise's existence. They beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 4 games to 1. Um, I loved watching this Rangers team. I got the opportunity to go to a Rangers game earlier this season. That was a whole bunch of fun. Their new stadium is terrific. I really enjoyed getting the opportunity to visit that, and just seeing the numerous amount of guys they have in their lineup that are so grossly talented, it was kind of expected to see them have some success, but maybe not this much success. Obviously, Adolis Garcia was their star guy for most of the playoffs before he got hurt. He was just absolutely raking, fun to watch him play. And then the two big free agents they had in Corey Seager, Marcus Simeon, Jonah Heim behind the plate was another great addition or a great player they've brought up through their system. And then they had pitching when it mattered. Jordan Montgomery came over from the Cardinals. He was very good for them. Nate Eovaldi pitched some very valuable innings for them. He's a former Red Sox that came over. Uh, Aroldis Chapman got some jobs done in the relief over there. He got his second World Series ring. And then while they didn't play any impact in this specific series, Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom, also Rangers, they will be adding a ring to their resume. So good for them. Congratulations to all the fans of the Texas Rangers around the world. It's obviously an exciting time to see your team win their first ever championship. And the way that this team is built, I expect to see them competing for several more. Corey Seager is one of the best postseason baseball players of all time. You look at his statistics. I think some of that stuff is a little bit flawed. We're obviously having deeper playoffs than in the past, more 7 game series, more rounds within the playoffs, especially when 8 teams make it with weird COVID things, wild card things. We've seen the playoffs be jumbled around the past couple years, and I think the addition of games has allowed guys like Seager. You've seen Bryce Harper, Castellanos, Schwarber also put up some postseason records in terms of career home runs, stuff like that. So, but regardless of all that, it doesn't take away from the fact that Corey Seager looked like Mr. October slash very, very early November, and he was great for them. And just overall, very well done job for the Texas Rangers over there. Um, that's all I got for you guys today here on this Friday. Battling a bit of a headache, pushing through it though. Um, I'm excited for my rest of my day. For all you Fortnite fans out there, the OG map has officially returned on Fortnite. So I'm excited to get some games in on that, play with my friends on that. I'm doing the update right now, which was I thought a good time to get it done as I do this. So make sure if you guys enjoyed playing Fortnite back in the day, get your game updated, dust off the controllers, get the mics in, get some parties going, and let's play with the boys like the old times. I think that's what we all need as a world right now is time with the boys playing Fortnite. So other than that, I hope you guys like this video. Leave a like right down there. Also, leave a comment down below what you'd like to continually see from me on this channel, what type of content you are hoping to see, and I'll be able to fill in some requests there. I'm just kind of unsure if you want more breakdown, more analysis, more fun. What type of things are you looking to see on this channel? Uh, Please subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, share it with your family. All that means the world to me as I continually look to grow this channel and get my name out there in the sports world community. I hope that someday, as this channel continues to grow, I can get more guests on here, especially notable guests besides just my friends. Uh, we'll see how that goes on that. I would be remiss to mention we do have UFC this weekend as well. It is in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's an all right card. Not a ton of ranked matchups. The main event is Jailton Almeida taking on Derek Lewis. Almeida's a big favorite in that one. Other than that, most of the card is just set up for the hometown Brazilians to get some wins. The Bonfilmin brothers are in action. Gabriel, I believe, is the welterweight one. He takes on it is Nicholas Dalby in the co-main event. Rodolfo Vieira fights Armin Petrosian, which I think will be a pretty good fight. Ishmael Bonfilmin, the other brother, I believe, is taking on Vince Pichel. And the other fight that I liked was Cal Bayalo versus Abus Magomed. I think those will all be entertaining fights at the very least, but not necessarily the most big names on that one. So I'm not sure how invested we are in this weekend, but we will take a look at the fights as they're going down. But we're about 2 weeks away from the big pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden. We will have a new light heavyweight champion, whether that be Jiri Prohaska or if that will be Alex Bejeda, and we will have an interim heavyweight world champion. John Jones is injured. The belt will be belonging to either England's own Tom Aspinall or the very dangerous Sergey Pavlovich. Excited to see how that one plays out here in a couple weeks. But until then, have a good one, guys, and continue to stay blessed.